Welcome to the Write Publish Market podcast. If you're a business owner thinking a book would be a great marketing asset for your business, you're in the right place. Maybe you've already committed, even better. I'm your host, Jodi Brandon, book publishing strategist and partner for business owners, CEOs, and entrepreneurs, and 20 plus year veteran of the book publishing industry. On the Write Publish Market podcast, in addition to learning from me and other industry experts, you'll hear from other business owners about their experiences as we explore all facets of writing, publishing, and marketing a book that will help your business grow in ways you might not even be dreaming of yet. I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive in. I am so excited to welcome back to the Write Publish Market podcast today, Hailey Dale, an author and award-winning content creator behind Your Content Empire. With 10 plus years of experience, Hailey helps coaches, course creators, and service providers scale their businesses through custom strategies, sustainable systems, and lifestyle-first business model design. Welcome back, Hailey. I'm so excited you're here.
I'm so excited to be here and talking with you.
I feel like we've talked about so many things, we've talked about content strategy, we talked about your book, and now we're talking, you sent an email, I'm on your email list, and you sent an email probably a couple of months ago now that just made like the little light bulb go off in my head, where it was sort of, I just had a discovery call with somebody, a book brainstorm session, and we were talking all about like the overwhelm that so many business owners feel when they commit to writing a book, which I know we can both relate to, about how it doesn't have to be this, both and, or it doesn't have to be either or, it can be both and you can, keep doing all of the things you're doing while working on your book. Now you're obviously content focused, but I feel like that could go, like this could be not just book writing, it could be any of those bigger projects in our business that we sort of get overwhelmed by. And then we are like, okay, I'm not working on that for a while. I'm going to focus on my content calendar. And I feel like you have a lot of really good things to say about this.
Oh,
so I'm excited to dig in.
Well, yeah, a lot of it like inspired by you and like our process of working together years ago with my book, which before we jumped on here, I said, and I will stand by this. I know you say I don't need to, but you were the only reason that book got done. But, and like, this is like what I absolutely can relate to, in that this push pull between your editorial calendar and writing a big project like a book. And you're right. It's similar to like, hey, I want to create a course, or hey, I want to create a funnel. It's like, how are we, like, we're barely keeping up with our content calendars. How are we going to create even more content on top of that? And I think it's a marriage between I think there's a way to marry the two. Yeah.
Yes. I love that phrasing of push pull, because I think that is what so many of us feel. And I love that we're coming at repurposing, but sort of like from the side, it feels like, which I think is something that everybody, as soon as people get on board with repurposing to write a book, I feel like it's just like the floodgates kind of open for them. But you're talking about it in a way that lets them do it before they even have to write the book. So
yeah,
like it's almost like a side door to repurposing, which, I mean, obviously we both sing the praises of repurposing, like don't keep reinventing the wheel. But I feel like makes it even easier. Like you're skipping steps, even though you're not skipping steps. So I know that you have identified a 4 or 5 step process.
I mean, it kind of depends. Like I'm thinking back to the clients that I worked through this with, and like for some it was 5 and for some it was 4. It just depends on where you're coming from and like whether or not they have those content pillars or like that signature process already identified, or if that's kind of the work that we need to do.
The work that you're doing.
It depends. Yeah. It's tailorable. So wherever you are.
I love that. So can you walk me through like the general process though? So like obviously start with the content pillars if you don't have them already, and then just kind of like, what does this look like?
Yeah. And for me, when I say content pillars, what I think is much more effective than like, hey, I'm going to talk about category A, category B. Like, I almost feel like category A, category B usually only makes sense in retrospect. Like when you're thinking about like the stuff, I feel like it's much more helpful to start with your signature process. And I think by the time you're thinking about writing a book, like, I don't know about you, this might be a hot take. I don't think business owners in year 1 should think about writing a book.
100%.
Because you got to figure your crap out first kind of thing. Yeah. And like, maybe it'd be a little bit different if I'm coming from like a 20-year corporate career into a business and I'm coming from it from that angle. But I think like step number one is like figuring out what your signature process is and like mining that for the content of the book. And then the second thing is to really think about almost coming up with your chapters outlines and like what are the sections, like I guess like in a fiction book, it would be like all of the scenes that make up the chapters.
Right. Yep.
Right. And using that list to create in step 3, your editorial calendar and your marching orders, because I think if you can create your content and also double purpose it for the book, but we're coming up with the outline before, like last year, I helped a few, like, it wasn't even like their main focus of like, right, it wasn't the main reason we were working together, but it was like a big goal on their hearts and on their minds. Using this process, it's like, oh, crap, I wrote a book kind of thing. Surprise.
Yeah. That's a happy surprise.
Exactly. Right. But it's like pre-planning it and using it as your editorial calendar, basically.
Okay. I want to dig into that a little bit. Like, what does that actually look like for somebody? Like, could you give us like an example?
Yeah, for sure. I will use myself as an example.
Great.
just because it is the most recent. So I've recently gone through a little bit of a pivot and like, I'm talking more about this idea of lifestyle first business model design. Where can we scale without sacrificing our lives and build a business around our lives rather than what I think so many of us did if we started a while ago, right? Yeah. We built these businesses the way we were supposed to. And we're like, this doesn't really fit my life. It's like kind of like a round hole square peg kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll use that as an example. So I recently pivoted that. And that was work that like, as I was like thinking about like, what are all the topics I want to cover? What is the signature process and like naming it and claiming it kind of thing. From that signature process was like, I was like, hey, this is like starting to look like big sections and chapters and a book outline. I wish I had it in here, but yeah, like actual examples and client, like, I mean, you just start fleshing it out, I think, with the stories and with the subtopics and with the points, and then like do that step first. And then it was like, okay, well, where can because I also teach a process called the content campaign process, where we are like choosing a theme that leads to your offer and doing like 3 to 4 weeks of like core content topics around your offer from a sideways angle, because I don't believe in selling at all. Like I believe in selling, right? Obviously I taught sales funnels, but I believe in like, you sell the problem, you sell the solution, like as in like you sell your process. And I think your offer kind of sells itself at that point, if you do those things. And so that's the way the content campaign method works. And so it was like taking then those topics and like every chapter kind of represented a content campaign in and of itself. Right. And then from there, I mean, I think of James Clear with Atomic Habits, and like, I read his blog, for years. And when the book finally came out, I loved it in that format, but you better believe, like, as I'm reading through, I'm like, oh, I remember that blog post. Yes. Oh, I remember that blog post, but it's presented and packaged in a different way. That doesn't take away from the appreciation of it.
Right. Oh, I love that. Yeah. If James Clear can do it, we can all do it.
Yeah, I mean, that book is like I think the number one business best-selling book ever.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, because so many of us buy it, reread it, buy it for other people. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
He just came up with and then like the offshoot products of it. Like he literally just released that workbook that goes along with it, which I bought, but I haven't dug into yet, but I'm buying it up anyways. I read the blog, I know all the stuff.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I think this is a great way too to validate things, because you can see, like, oh, I'm going to share these stories about this topic in my email newsletter, on social media, in a blog post, whatever. And like, what gets the most response? Like, oh, I thought this story was going to be really great and it didn't get a lot of response, great feedback, whatever. Maybe I need to tweak that for the book. I love that.
And even like, I think it can also tell you what direction to go in. Like I think about book 2, like I'm thinking about writing this book now, but I think I missed an opportunity with book 2 in that I had like an idea, really a strategy and an idea really go viral a few years ago, the minimalist content system. And people were obsessed with it. The numbers were massive on it. And like in hindsight, I should have turned that baby into a book and like kind of missed that window of doing that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point. Well, because I think life first business, like that's everybody wants in on that right now. Right. And like the minimalist content system, same kind of thing. Like it's appealing to us in so many ways as business owners, as humans, as, citizens of this world that's on fire. Like, yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I wasn't surprised at all that people were into the minimalist content system. And now same thing with your new direction, which is
I think
fun.
that'll fit. I think that could fit into this lifestyle first business model design book. And it's like, I feel like you and I are on the same wavelength with this, but I think like the thing that like might be on my tombstone or, I'm like a broken record about is like your content is an asset, right? It is not meant to be, you're not meant to have always new things to say, which is why like going back to that step number 1, if you don't already have that signature process in place, figure out that signature process, right? And that should be what everything is, jumps off from kind of thing and leads back to your offer. But your content is an asset in that way, right? And I think like this whole disposable content idea is actually really harmful, but like where we can like, whether it's a book, whether it's a course, whether we're just putting it in a content bank to repurpose and republish and repackage. Right. Yeah. Your content's an asset.
Yeah. I think, that foundational work too of your signature process, your signature framework, it shouldn't be that hard as a business owner to identify those pillars, those themes that you want to be talking about. And if it is, a hot take here, if it is, you have no business writing a book yet. Like you've got to be like deeply entrenched, and it should be, just these are the things that you're talking about anyway. I feel like it shouldn't be like you were saying, the square peg in the round hole, or, okay, on Mondays, I'm going to talk about, pillar number 1 in an educational post. On Tuesdays, I'm like, I don't think it has to be quite that rigid.
And I think you're just making your life way, way harder if you're, doing it like that. I still have clients though. Like I will say, like I have very experienced clients who struggle with the signature process. And the reason is that they overthink the heck out of it. Right. Like they're like, but what about this scenario? It's like, well, what do you walk 80% of people through to get them the best results? Right. And then you can go and like, here are the caveats.
Yeah. Well, I think that overthinking, that translates hugely into the book writing.
I'm sure you see it all the time.
Like you've got that working, like you're essentially creating a working table of contents with your editorial calendar, following your system, right? Yeah. And then it's like, well, I also want to say this. I'd also want, like, I want to share every single thing. Like, you don't need to share every single thing in the book. Like, use it as a case study. Like that, like you said, that content is an asset for sure, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily like, you've got to like find a way to shoehorn that into chapter 5 of your book. Which I think, I on some level, I get it, because it's like, it's a big, huge project, right? It's overwhelming, and like, you want to do it right. You want to get it all in there and everything. But I think if we just kind of give ourselves a break and take a step back, like there's lots of other places we could share that story too, while still talking about the bigger themes of the book.
Yeah, I have to say this, but like one of the things that was most like transformational in working with you through our like that book process for me was you said something around the idea of like, don't think of this as like your magnum opus, right? This does not need to be perfect. It's not your only book. Think of it as like your book 1, as chapter 1 in that story. So, because like case in point, like overthinking everything, right? I was overthinking the heck out of it. I was like, had all this pressure to be like, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And that really was permission, allowed me to like get out of my own way.
Yeah, you are not the only person that I've had that conversation with. Believe me.
Everyone needs a Jodi when they're writing their book.
You're sweet. You're very sweet.
Hey there, business owner, an aspiring or published author. Sorry to interrupt this episode. Just wanted to check in and see if you're subscribed to Coffee and Commas, my email newsletter, where I share behind the scenes, industry info, and much more about writing, publishing, and marketing a book for your business. Sign up at bit.ly/coffee and commas sign up. That's all lowercase. Now back to the show.
Well, that permission is really because it feels like, I mean, I do get it as someone who is part of the book world. I do get it that becoming part of that book world feels like such a big, huge deal because so many of us want to write a book that we overthink it. And then all it does is bring up resistance and imposter syndrome and all of these things that, then you got to work through. I mean, the number of podcast episodes I do that are mindset related is it's unbelievable because that's what, we're all so talented as business owners and leaders, but this is an unfamiliar process. And yeah, it scares the pants off of us sometimes.
There's something about it being in print versus an Instagram post that maybe has a 24-hour lifespan.
I get it. I do. Yeah. Well, and I always say, I mean, I just updated my book for the 3rd edition. It just came out a couple months ago. It's out there, but it doesn't mean it's permanent. So I did the 3rd edition and I already have a file of things that I want to change. For the 4th edition. So that's just kind of the way it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not even as permanent as we think it is.
Yeah. But I do understand the thinking. So one of the things that I saw you say that I wrote down on a little sticky note I keep on my desk now is your content is your book. You just need the right system to organize it. I love that. Can you talk a little bit more about how did you, what made you think of that? How did you come up with that?
I think I was just like I said, last year, we kind of I surprised myself in the coaching work I was doing. And this wasn't they hired me to work on their sales systems and their offers and their signature process and getting that in place. Yeah. Right. And all these 3 clients that I'm thinking of specifically had a book on their hearts, on their minds that they really wanted to do. And it was okay, I think I surprised them. In fact, I know I surprised them and being well, maybe this isn't as far off as you think it is. And maybe, your content is your book. And that what if we were to, you think you're going to write the book in 2 or 3 years, but what if we were to create the outline now, whether we do something with it or not, that's beside the point. But who's to say you can't start creating that content this month, next month, and by the time you get there, you'll be hey, I have most of this work already done. And it's just creating flows and transitions and adding in exclusive pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is exactly what we have to do when we talk about repurposing content that you already have out there is adding the transition and making it flow and all those things. So yeah, again, we're coming in the side door halfway there, everybody. This makes perfect sense. And it,
content banks.
you're already going to have to do this work of creating an editorial calendar. So why not let it pull double duty?
That's the thing. Yeah. I'm all about where can we, I think that becoming an adult and becoming a business owner is the biggest self-development journey you'll ever go through. And I've heard a million people say this in different ways, right? This is not a unique idea, but I also it's parenting ourselves and manipulating ourselves and tricking ourselves sometimes into doing the work. Right. And I think, if you have to create content, you need to create that core piece of content, whether it's a podcast, whether it's written, whether it's video, but then from there, right? That's the work of your book, right? Because ideally your book is based on that signature process. And so, it all marries together.
Well, and then also that leads into another one of my preaching points, which is that, a lot of business owners get hung up on, okay, I've got to just focus on the book and get it done because then I can get back to the income generating activities in my business, whether that's coaching clients, whether that's running a course, whether that's whatever. But this allows you to do both at the same time. And then you can, first of all, get the book done quicker, get it out there so that it does start generating some revenue for you. But you're also not taking, a 3-month period where you're not doing anything else.
What a better lead up to releasing your book too. If you are let's say it takes you 9 months of creating content consistently to have the bulk of your book kind of done. What a better way to attract an audience as you go for that book and instant, at least an Amazon bestseller there, right? With the audience you're going to have. Yeah. But I think there's I can't even think of another way of doing it now.
Yeah.
I'm what?
Yeah. Yeah. When you sent that email, I was what a no-brainer. How small? Obviously, listen, there's been a lot of times over the years, we've known each other a long time now.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of times where you've sent an email and I've replied and been like, this is so smart. But this was another one where I was immediately like, how have I not thought of this?
I know. It's like I see brown cows everywhere now because I'm thinking brown cows are obvious. Yeah.
I love it. Super, super smart. All right. I just want to I want to run through like the steps kind of one more time. So start with that foundational piece, your pillars, your signature work.
Step one, signature process. Yeah. And that is like, I mean, I think that there are obviously offshoots and stuff that you can go like, it's like if you have a 5-step process, I'm not saying you're going to have a 5-chapter book kind of thing, right? There are sub-steps in there. The whole point of our signature process is to like bundle these steps together. Like I will come in with clients and they will have like a 23-step signature process. And I'm like, no. That's going to overwhelm. Like, yes, that might be what's happening. It's like how the sausage is made. Not everyone needs to know that, right? Like the millions of steps that go into that. So, right, where can we batch these things together where we can like also thinking about the front end marketing piece and communications piece, right? Like that just makes it easier for them to think of. So start with that signature process. Was it Einstein who says, if you can't like talk about this simply, like explain it to a 3rd grade or a 6th, like then you don't know it well enough.
You don't know it well enough. Yeah.
So maybe that's our litmus test for, are you ready to write a book, right? Do you have a signature process and can you explain it really simply?
Yes,
right.
I love that. Yep.
Yeah, so that's step number 1. And then step number 2 is to create, like, even if it feels like a dream right now, a really far off dream of writing a book, like what would be in that table of contents? Right. And starting to outline that. So that would be step 2. And then step 3 is like, okay, editorial calendar. So for each of those things, you like each of those subpoints in those chapters, I would even go as far to say, if you like layer on top that content campaign method, each of your chapters represent a content campaign, right?
Yeah.
And each of the sub scenes in there or sub categories or sections represent like the individual blog posts. And maybe there's subsections within there that represent the social media posts, if we're thinking from like macro to micro. Yeah. So that would be step 3. And then step 4 is just like, we just work the editorial calendar. And by the time you get to like 6-9 months in, surprise, you are like done a lot of your book right there. Or at least that the hardest part is that first draft. And that's going to get you.
Absolutely. Well, and the most overwhelming part, I've been doing this a long time. The most overwhelming part is when people think they're starting from zero.
Yeah. And they're not.
Like when you are like opening up a blank Google, brand new empty Google Doc or Word document or whatever. And you're just staring at that cursor.
Once upon a time.
It's, even if it's like a dream of yours, even if you have gazillion posts and blog posts and email newsletters and stuff to pull from, looking at that blank screen scares everybody. And if you don't have to do that while at the same time running your business and doing all the things you need to be doing anyway, what a no-brainer. What a no-brainer.
Shop your content. And then step 5 is obviously like the book process. Hire Jodi.
Well, some people need accountability. Some people don't. I mean, listen, there's lots of us out there that provide accountability in different ways, but certainly talk to some people because it can be overwhelming. I totally get that. Especially if you're doing it for the first time, it's a whole, it's a whole
this takes out a huge part of that overwhelm. Because I know in my case is like the first draft was like the hardest part to get. And then like once that got done, things moved pretty quickly from there. Or like there's something about like printing it out, even if it's like complete crap of like, oh my gosh, it's in front of me. And now I get to play with it.
What I did. Yeah. Well, it's easier at that point to see like, okay, this is pretty close to what I wanted. Like, this was what I was trying to do. Like, it needs some finessing and maybe I don't have to talk about that. Maybe I want to talk about that more. But seeing, that first like complete thing. That's an important milestone for sure. And please always remember your content is an asset. That is, I think that's one of like the simplest, but most important things that you say.
Your content is an asset. Your content is your book. Yeah. And it should be your book unless like you have multiple businesses. I don't know. I'm trying to like make a case for those people.
And it is like one of the things that you're so great at is like getting things organized. And this
love
helps
language.
you, like, which is huge with a book project because it's so, like, it's just so many words. It's so many more words than people are used to dealing with. So getting things organized from the get-go with your editorial calendar, I mean, you're like, follow this method and you're halfway there. Like, I mean, it's really...
Honestly, what is the average book count?
I mean, for like professional development style books, it's probably like around like 50,000 words, let's say.
Okay, so 50,000 words. Let's say that each of your chapters has like 5 subsections, 5 blog posts in them.
Yeah.
I mean, we're down to 10 chapters.
Exactly.
We're down to 10 months, 10 content campaigns, tricking yourself there, right? This is like quick napkin math, but like,
Yes. And I think looking at it that way is super smart. That's actually one of the things that I added to my book revision this time was this do the math sections where I literally break it, like using numbers, not just like, oh, hey, it should take you about this long for this or whatever, but actual like math equations. Yeah. Just to let people realize, like, it's just such a light bulb moment for so many people when you think about it like that. Oh, that's 10 blog posts. That's not
that is like short blog, but like that's 1,000 words. That's like a 10-minute YouTube video. You know, most of us, like, we end up adding more in there. So, I mean, that's like probably even less. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and the list of content sources for business owners, like, you're already doing all of this work. Like, for people who are coming in like later and we think about, you know, all of the content they already have without fail, they can't believe it. They can't believe how much they already have to use. So if you're doing it from the beginning this way, I mean, it's going to make repurposing, I always say, almost makes it so you're coming in with a second draft because that first piece is already done. You've already gone through all of the drafting and the revising and whatever to get it to like a publishable, shareable point. And then the book revision is almost like draft number 2. So it's a similar kind of thing here.
Which is like exactly why, like, even though I'm like, you'd be nuts to add a book on this year with everything you have planned going on. But I'm also like, because of this pivot and because of this pivot, like it only makes sense to have that outline and then use that as the basis for my editorial calendar. So I'm living my process. I'm walking my own process here.
Well, no one can work a plan like you.
I love it. Plan. Yeah.
This was so helpful. I'm so happy that you came on and shared all of this with us today. Very much appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. You know, I don't let anybody leave without a book recommendation. And I know you're a reader, so I know you've got something good for me.
Yeah. Okay. So staying in like kind of that business realm, the book and actually you'd really like this one. He's writing a book and like writing books fast. He talks about, so it's Lifestyle Business Playbook by Daniel Priestley. And he's written a ton of books and he talks about his process on like, you know, even if it's not a forever book, even if the strategies change later on, it's like for this moment in time and developing your IP. So he talks about it a bit in there.
Okay. I have not read that one. So I will check that out for sure. Thank you.
It's a good one.
This was fantastic. Come back soon. Keep us posted on the book process. Cause now I feel like book number 2 is coming sooner rather than later.
I'm going to trick myself on the way. Yeah.
Thank you, Hailey. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Write, Publish, Market podcast. I know just how busy business owners and CEOs' schedules are, and I'm grateful you've taken some time out of yours to spend with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, take a quick screenshot and share it on social to let others know you're listening. Use the hashtag Write, Publish, Market to spread the love.